السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا لكم على حضوركم ومشاركتكم. أرجو من الجميع خاصة الإخوة في الخلف أن يجلسوا في أماكنهم. كنا بانتظار حل مشكلة تقنية بالنسبة للتلفزيون للنقل المباشر، والآن سنبدأ إن شاء الله.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Attention to everyone. Can we please be settled down as we start the afternoon session in closing? Before we start with the program, I'm going to request that we all stand and we sing the national anthem of South Africa, which will be followed by the national anthem of Palestine. We do this as we are preparing to close all the session for the day.
نشكركم ونرجو أن تتفضلوا بالوقوف حتى نستمع إلى النشيد الوطني لجمهورية جنوب أفريقيا ولفلسطين العزيزة.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As we draw near to a close of the convention, let us be again reminded as to why we are gathered here. It is because Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was and still is friends with Palestine. He vowed that our freedom is their freedom, and their freedom is our freedom as well. He said it clearly that we are never free until Palestine is free. So as we gather here, let those words be instilled in our minds and in our souls and in our hearts, that our freedom is never our freedom until Palestine is free. Today, in this session, we will hear voices from around the world on their personalities with regards to all that is happening. As we start, we have a general coordinator of the global campaign to return to Palestine. We all know that Palestinians are not only in Palestine, not only in Gaza, not only in South Africa, not only in Lebanon or Jordan or anywhere, but they are all over because of their displacement. But all they want is to go back to their home, to their land. And Yusuf Abbas, who is the general coordinator of the global campaign to return to Palestine, is here to deliver a personal story for us.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم رموز الحق والعدالة والدفاع عن المظلومين ومواجهة الظلم
justice
والوقوف مع
and standing with righteousness and rejecting all forms of segregation on this land. This land that have lived lots of years and many years of segregation, that it even seemed impossible that it comes out of this segregation. The revolution has came out, and the freedom fighters have aligned their lines to form a great power to face this tyranny, starting from Albert Lutuli, passing Ahmed Katarda, all the way up to the great leader, the President Nelson Mandela. They had become a symbol for freedom fighting after plenty of years of being called a terrorist. Whomever reads the history of this country that we are in, very safely as we fly the flag of Palestine, knows that the transformation, no matter how hard the transformation is very possible. In Palestine today, freedom fighters that stand in the face of the enemy are being called terrorists. And the oppressor and the tyrant, the killer of children and women, all the international forces are standing with them, supporting them, supplying them with different kinds of weapons as they become more ferocious day by day, without no one stopping them. In South Africa, every time the freedom fighters were getting a step closer towards their goal, the apartheid regime was getting more savage. From today we see this Zionist regime. It took off the mask that used to wear, as they had claimed that they are pro-human rights. Every day, thousands of martyrs being killed. And easily they say these ones deserve for a nuclear bomb to be dropped in them, as if they are animals less than humans. But today we feel the same dawn of freedom, that the sun of freedom that came in South Africa will soon come to Palestine. We discussing with our revolutionary brother Mandela, who has chose to follow his grandfather's path in revolution and in fighting. Sadly today, a lot of the people that should be standing with Palestine are very scared for their positions, for their posts, for their benefits. Sometimes these benefits are very small. Some of these countries are surrounding Palestine. They should support Palestine. Our brother Mandela, when it was suggested that they have the conference here, he stepped forward without any hesitation, knowing that he could pay the price for that. But he comes from a long line of freedom fighters. Today we have to step up with our efforts and our sacrifices the same way the Palestinian people are. In this meeting of ours today, that happens in the southern hemisphere of the planet, has to come with actual results. Maybe we are not using weapons, maybe it's not in our hands to use weapons, but the strength and the power that the word has and the stance and our efforts are extremely important. This is the least thing that could we do towards our cause. In solidarity with our people of Palestine, the ones that are falling martyrs as we speak now. Words always come short, they're not enough. We feel shy in front of our cause. As we learn from them at every moment, lessons in sacrifice and fighting and acceptance the faith of God, and persistence and keep going on our way. This stance requires us to overlook all of our differences, to get together under one umbrella. So these conferences happen to organize and cooperate all Palestinian supporters globally and unify them under the name of stopping the Nazi enemy against Gaza that is being powered and driven by the American government. So Palestine could be completely free from the river to the sea and the going back of the Palestinian people to their own land. And to the Palestinian people I say, the patient Palestinian people, the fighter Palestinian people, as they live 100 years of resistance and survival, will learn from your survival. from you standing straight, from you fighting against the enemy. Today, in this meeting, we take an oath upon ourselves to stand with you and not leave you. We know that we come short. No matter how much we present, it's not enough. We will not be able to give the same as you guys give. But rest assured, that with all this power and all these people that are supporting you worldwide, you will be victorious, God's willing. This is what God promised you. Peace be upon you.
Thank you, Sheikh. Following, we have one from the Alliance of Palestinian National Forces, Islamic Jihad Movement in Palestine. This is none other than Ihsan Ataya. Please welcome him on stage.
أبناء الزعيم نيلسون مانديلا وعائلته، منظمي الملتقى الدولي الخامس للتضامن مع فلسطين، الحملة العالمية للعودة إلى فلسطين، أصحاب المقامات الرفيعة، السيدات الفاضلات، السادة الأعزاء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. نجتمع اليوم.
Today we gather in South Africa, a country that took a very advanced stance against the Zionist enemy, against its awful crimes, and against its ethnic cleansing against the Palestinian government. The strong Palestinian government, despite the killing of their kids, civilians and women, despite the spill of blood on a dignified land, despite tens of thousands of people, of martyrs, hundreds of thousands that have been displaced because of the savage bombing of buildings and houses and hospitals and school and shelter houses, on churches and mosques, the cutting of electricity and medical supplies, everything that sends hope into life. We gather today in this event with the sons of Mandela and his grandkids and his colleagues and his beloved people, as they have tasted the taste of segregation and tyranny, as they understand what does it mean to face a tyrant, to send a message of solidarity with the Palestinian people that have suffered from occupation for decades, that have been displaced from their lands by force in 1948, to erase their identity and steal their lands, all the way up to a complete ethnic cleansing and displacement, and cancelling the rights of return to go back to where they belong. As today they are a victim of a savage Zionist regime that America leads on every way, in alignment with the UK, Britain, Great Britain, Germany and France, that have took only one tactic step to the back just because of the national riots and unprecedented protests that have caused them to take that step worldwide. Dear brothers, dear sisters, the Palestinian resistance has been able to strike on the 7th of October that shook the Zionist regime, that had shook their plans to occupy all the lands, that shook this great danger that threatened the Zionist regime's existence. And now they are helping this Zionist regime. They are trying to help him to recover. However, this Zionist regime, his image has been disrupted and will never recover. Despite all their tools and all their supplies and all their power, as they're trying to cover their savage attacks in the West Bank and in Gaza. And we have to point out that the Palestinian resistance that had fought the oppressor bravely and had sent massive strikes towards the Zionist regime have had a lot of people against it. And the giving up of the Arab regime also, that have passed through a lot of stages that you might not know, different stages. Despite that, the victory of the Islamic Revolution in Iran, there is more hope now to the Palestinian cause. So now supply is coming to the Palestinian cause non-stop, to the point that our Palestinian resistance has come to a lot of strength, despite the fact that it occupies such a small land space, still facing a great Zionist enemy. And this legendary heroic stance that the Palestinian resistance are taking with the Palestinian people and their sacrifice are still facing this enemy, the criminal enemy, with all its toughness and patience. And absolute faith in victory, certain victory. And we would like to assure the role that you play as supportive countries, in all as supportive countries in all different ways, politically and in a military aspect as well, and supporting the resistance in this hideous war that is happening to us. That his main aim is to dismantle the resistance and also the displacing of the Gaza people and redrawing the map in the area, reshaping the map in the area. After America had failed to do that in the year 2006. So it's only normal to send our absolute thanks to the diplomatic role that is supporting us and the media role that is supporting us from Iran and Yemen and the resistance in Iraq that have sent their airstrikes to American military bases in Iraq and the resistance in Lebanon. And the resistance in Lebanon, and on its head, leading it, Hezbollah, as they have presented tens of martyrs and are still present to fight. In the south, sending their strikes to the enemy lines. They have distracted their army and dismantled their crews and teams across the area. As we also like to thank the Arab and Islamic nation and everyone that is free in the world, the ones that are in solidarity with our people, and supporting our resistance. And special thanks to South Africa and its people. And its people that are still following Mandela's footsteps and his values. My dear guests, all this will definitely do a great impact on a global movement and affect the resistance in the entire area, despite our pains and sufferings. If you are in pain, they are in pain as well. However, you want from God what they don't want. I can tell you that the resistance will come out of this battle victorious. God will not leave us. They will be defeated. And hopefully, we will get together on the 6th anniversary to celebrate our victory on the Palestinian land and in Al-Quds. Peace be upon you.
In Gaza or in Palestine, the apartheid regime may try to stop the resistance, may try to displace you as Palestinians, may try to destroy you. But in South Africa, we give you a home. We give you a place where you can express yourselves, where you can tell the world of what you feel and what you want from the world. As we continue, we will now hear from Khaled Al-Kadumi of the Hamas movement. Please welcome him to the stage.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وقائدنا وقدوتنا محمد اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending this conference, this Congress, for the sake of Palestine. Thank you, Mandela, for remembering us and standing with us the time many they did not show. Thank you indeed, all free voices, rational voices, they stood with us. When we talk about Mandela, when we talk about Mandela, Madiba, and when we talk about South Africa, we feel at home. We feel a lot of similarity with this nation, with this experience. We feel that those iconic figures, they were never persons, they are a school of thoughts. Their revelation to us, all of us, freedom fighters, as we are not killers, we are not vampires, they are the vampires, they are the warmongers, we are freedom fighters. We look only for one thing. We in Palestine want to live in peace, want to live as any peaceful nation in the world. Nelson Mandela, the heritage you left over here, it's very similar to what is happening in Palestine. Today, brothers and sisters, dear comrades, Gaza is the scaffold where Palestine is being executed. The ladies, they've been driven barefoot. The kids, they were being beheaded by the 6-star angled. Don't say it, it's David's star, because David is Palestinian. David is not Israeli. David is Moses, is Jesus. David is Muhammad, peace be upon him. We are the actual inheritance and the successor of those prophets and those good people. Today, Gaza doesn't need rebuilt because Gaza has rebuilt the dignity of humanity. Gaza is in need of justice. Gaza needs all of you to come forward to achieve the justice for humanity. They are talking about that we want to annihilate Israel. Israel was the reason for the instability and lack of security in the beginning of this century. Before 15th of May, 1948, we were living in Palestine, which is registered by name of Palestine since 1921. Israel, founded on the basis of massacres, 600 villages has been wiped from the map of Palestine. Israel has been based on fabricated stories. They wanted to educate us that Israel is made for a people without land, for a people, it has built over a land without nation, for a nation without land. Those fabricated stories, allegations and propaganda won't be forgiven. Today, we are living the rewriting of the history. We are living how to proceed further for independence. Hamas, Palestine, the Gazans, you know, it was the peace. أعطيني دقيقتين لفلسطين وبخلص. إن شاء الله. عارفين يا شباب, do you know that we were having the humanitarian pause in Gaza a couple of days ago? Sheikh Ibrahim, Sheikh Yusuf, the falafel restaurant started at 5 a.m. their work. In the very next day, to sell the falafel, the people, they knocked our door over there. Ammo, uncle, you ordered repairing of the door of your room. Do you want us to start today? Our people, they love life and they will live as any human in this world. They will live victorious because on 7th of October, we have won. The flood of Aqsa will end with the spring of victory, spring of freedom of Palestine from the river to the sea. ويومئذ يفرح المؤمنون بنصر الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Of course, Palestine shall be free. This is why we are here. And our souls are with everyone who is crying for Palestine. And not only for Palestine, but also for the settlers, also for the Israelis, to one day to see and hear the cry of all the people and let them be hit by the cries and understand that what they are doing is not of God, but is of their own, and God has never sent them to do so. As we continue, we shall hear from the former Defense Minister of Greece. This is Kostas Isios, who will grace us with his personality. Please welcome him to the stage.
The second day here, my dear comrades and my dear friends, has been, we were reborn. Believe me, we have been reborn because Palestine now and the Palestinian flag is the flag of all humanity. In our country, In our country, many Palestinian flags are out in the balconies of apartment buildings. The composer, the music composer of the Palestinian anthem was Mikis Theodorakis. The gold medal winner of the 2004 Olympics in javelin, Sofia Sakorafa, when she won the medal, she wore the Palestinian flag here. And our great and first partisan in 1941 in Europe, Manolis Glezos, who died 2 years ago at the age of 98. 5 days before his death in the hospital, I was telling Nabil and other friends today, because these things come to our heart now. He called Nadia Valavani, former Minister of Finance. He called me. And he told us and other comrades along him, do not forget Palestine. And I do believe that the Israeli Zionist killing machine is going to sacrifice Netanyahu very soon, because they want to clean themselves up. They cannot carry the shame of death and destruction and displacement and ethnic cleansing and extermination of a people in the 21st century. And they will find a way to clean themselves in humanity. They cannot do it. Because during these 2 days, these people here and the people outside in the world who followed us in the news, in the media, in television, in the social networks, these people are the people's tribunal of the war criminals. We don't need the Court of Hague, because they will never take them to the whole Court of Hague. The people have given a verdict in humanity already. And Israel has already lost the propaganda war. They know it. And Palestinians have won this war because of their heroism, their bravery, and because of their sacrifices. I went to Gaza in 2014 with other 18 members of parliament from the European Union. We went there as human shields, wearing special vests for Palestinian families to gather some cultivation food for them. And bullets flew over our heads from the towers they control around Gaza, with no humans firing rifles, but controlling from rooms the machine guns. And you know what the Palestinians said to us? Go down, we will stand up. We need you to be alive, and we need you to tell your people what you have seen here in Gaza. And this will never leave our hearts and minds. And Nelson Mandela and South Africa and the people, the heroic people who beat and conquered liberty against apartheid, have the moral right, more than any other country in the world and nation, to be the flag of Palestine from now on, in social diplomacy, in political diplomacy. And when I hear our South African friends telling them that now South Africa is the home of Palestine, I know that South Africa is not doing this for gains of geopolitical gains or any other gains. They're doing this because this is the fight they gave for centuries against the apartheid whites who came here to make them slaves. And this is why the people of South Africa are also an example of what has been conquered today in the hearts and minds of all humanity. Our traveling will be long. We used to say in Greece in ancient times, and we still say it today, and I'm sure our neighbors say it. We are not afraid of the seas. We are not afraid of the waves, because we will arrive at a safe port. The Palestinians will arrive at their safe port to have their country, to have their freedom, to have their independence, to have their dignity, and to be taught in schools in the future. This is how people win victories, by believing in the future of their children. Thank you.
Indeed, it is a long walk to freedom, but we shall reach it one day. A member of parliament in Kenya is in the house. Africa is learning to speak loud and be the voice of Palestine. As we welcome on stage Yusuf Hassan to grace us with his personalities coming from Kenya, please help me to welcome him on stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Allow me to begin by saluting the resilient, heroic, and extraordinary people of Palestine in their unwavering struggle for freedom. I also bring you greetings from the fraternal people of Kenya and the Kenya Palestinian Association. I also want to extend my tribute to the great people of South Africa and express my gratitude for hosting this convention on your soil. Hosting this important meeting in South Africa is not coincidental. Striking parallels exist between the former apartheid regime in South Africa and the Zionist project in Palestine. The iconic liberation and freedom giant Nelson Mandela laid the foundation for the special relationship between these two struggles. Mandela was a true fighter for Palestine and a sincere friend to the Palestinian people. It is inspiring to witness Mandela taking up the baton, ensuring continuity, and shouldering his historic responsibility in the pursuit of his great-grandfather's profound and timeless words. Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. And I am privileged that I was in that hall, in that year, here in Pretoria, when President Mandela spoke those immortal words. Undoubtedly, the people of Palestine currently face an unprecedented assault on their lives, their humanity, their dignity, by a brutal, inhumane, and murderous Zionist regime. Israel is committing unspeakable crimes, perpetuating enslavement, occupation, expulsion, and actively pursuing another Nakba. The siege on Gaza, which Israel has turned into a big concentration camp, involves cutting off essential supplies and resources. It is leading to relentless bombing and slaughtering of defenseless civilians, the overwhelming majority of who are women and children, resulting in huge suffering and massive displacement. The atrocities committed by Israel in Gaza and the West Bank are apparent for all to see and witness. There is absolutely no doubt in our minds that Israel's use of deadly weapons against civilians constitutes crimes against humanity. They constitute war crimes. Israel is carrying out ethnic cleansing and genocide and blatantly violating international law, humanitarian law, and civilized society's norm. It is hard to comprehend the pure and unadulterated evil on display in Gaza. Faced with a brutal colonial occupier, the people of Palestine have the inherent right to resist, confront, and fight back. Their pursuit of national liberation, as we've had here, is a just cause. It is our duty to stand in solidarity and support their legitimate struggle for freedom. And that's what we're here in solidarity to support their resistance and the resistance movement that has made it impossible for Israel to get its way in Palestine. To hide the truth and silence the media, Israel has directly targeted and killed 74 journalists, and it has banned international journalists from entering Gaza. They don't want the truth to be known. But thanks to the power of the social media, the false mask of this racist and apartheid Zionist regime is unraveling. It is exposing its ugly face and its true colors. Its propaganda and lines are exposed, and this lawless regime stands totally naked before the eyes of peace and freedom-loving people all over the world. Today, apartheid Israel is truly before the court of international opinion. The USA and the European Union's proclaimed commitment to equality, justice, democracy, human rights, and freedom rings hollow in the face of their unconditional support for apartheid Israel. Their selective applications of this principle exposes a glaring omission when it comes to Palestinians. Phrases such as the responsibility to protect civilians in conflict are meaningless when it comes to the safeguarding of the people of Palestine. We unequivocally reject this racist and false narrative from Israel and the West. We stand here to declare that Palestinian lives matter, that the lives of Palestinian children matter. We express an unswerving support and solidarity with the Palestinian people. And it's absurd to advocate for the rights of strangers from every corner or any corner of the world to settle in Palestine while denying Palestinians who were expelled in successive pogroms orchestrated by Israel the right to return to their ancestral land. We firmly uphold the principle that no human being is superior to another. All of us are born free and equal. We're here to say the brutal occupation must end. We once again reaffirm the peoples of Palestine's right to self-determination, freedom and justice, and the right to live in peace and dignity. We're calling for an immediate stop to the genocidal war against the people of Gaza. The occupation must end. The people of Palestine must be allowed to determine their own destiny. There can be no peace without justice, and there can be no peace until the occupation ends and the people of Palestine are free. The Palestinian people's struggle is entering a crucial phase, and I have no doubt as we stand here that they will triumph. Soon, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Thank you so much.
We have in the house Hamad Al-Hadari, who is in the Ansar Allah movement from Yemen. Please welcome him to the stage.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يقول الله
God say in the Holy Quran, my dear brothers, peace be upon you from the Yemen of peace, Yemen of faith, Yemen of wisdom. I salute you, free people, supporters of righteousness, standing next to the oppressed people. And it's fair just for their fair fight. Palestine has unified us and gathered us. We owe Palestine and this great country when the free people have gathered from different places in the world, from different continents. As God says, supporting or the support of the Palestinian people. And the work that you free people do in this conference is a form of support and help. I appreciate and I thank everyone who has supported in launching of this conference and organized the whole process. And I thank this great country, the free country of South Africa. We salute the country from Yemen. From Yemen, we salute the family of Mandela. This country that we have seen one of God's miracles. That says that we have blessed the weak ones. Mandela was weak and his people was oppressed, so they have fought and struggled till the day that they have got their freedom. And now Mandela is a leader and a symbol of freedom for all humanity. What happens in Gaza should set alight the fire of anger within us, because there is no time for talks, no time for speaking. In Gaza there is a Israeli-American Holocaust happening right now. The prophet of God Musa, where God has set an example for him, as he has been angered when he saw someone that is being fallen for an unjust action. He was still young, he was not still a prophet. How was that was his mindset, that was his brain, to actually help the ones that are weak. So Musa did hit him, and then he collapsed. So Musa, when he saw someone that is being oppressed, he stood by him and helped him. Musa was in pain when he was seeing the sons of Israel being slaughtered and oppressed. So how come we do not get angered and do not get furious and not move with actual steps? Only yesterday 300 martyrs were recorded, and I think by today they became 700 martyrs, mostly women and kids. Israel has injured more than 50,000 Palestinians. 6,000 children have been killed. A lot of them were under the rubbles of torn houses and bombed houses. We know what unfairness means. We know this unfairness that happens in Gaza because we have lived this unfairness in the Saudi-American war on Yemen. Almost 50,000 Yemeni have suffered from this war. What America and Saudi had done in 8 years, till this day is happening in Gaza. Where are these human rights that the West of America are calling for? Does it not exist in Gaza? The terrorism is only the actions of Israel. Whomever supports Israel is not a USA. Did not the American president come out to show his sympathy and support to the Israeli government and calling the Palestinian resistance a terrorist group? America is the mother of terrorism. The Palestinian resistance, where its movement has exposed America and its double standard with the human rights. They are killers, nothing but killers. And they had exposed what the American media has been saying, that the US government has supplied the Israeli army forces with hundreds of bombs. My brothers in Yemen and Abdul Malik al-Houthi, we understand the right way in the right direction to move accurately towards applying more pressure towards this enemy. And that's by having complete closure in the Red Sea. Plus to going out and voluntarily, volunteers are going out to assist with whatever they can. Israel only understands the language of power and force, nothing else. You should not be surprised when this tyranny moves once it's done from Gaza to another city. We listen to the Quran and we listen and we understand from the Quran. As much as we fight in the sake of Allah, we are safe and good. And as long as America and Israel, as much as they have advanced technology and weapons, as if they're not with Allah, they are not safe. I appreciate your attendance. Peace be upon you.
The leader of the opposition in Ireland and president of Sinn Féin, Mary Lowe MacDonald, will be presenting through a video. She is unable to be with us in the House. We will see.
The Palestinian people have a right to their homeland. Having endured generations of dispossession, occupation, oppression, apartheid, human rights violations that should shake humanity, Israel claims to act in self-defense. Carpet bombing civilians, collective punishment, massacring children in their thousands is not defense. The world sees Israeli actions for what they are: barbaric, hateful, cowardly war crimes. This is a moment of reckoning for world leaders, for the European Union, a test of commitment to human rights, peace, democracy. We ask, where is the protection of international law for every child killed in Gaza, for every Gazan mother holding the cold body of their dead child? Israel cannot be allowed to commit atrocities with impunity. Only a peace process, dialogue, international law can deliver peace and Palestinian freedom.
Indeed, can we ask the one question that Mary is asking? Where is it, the humanity that is lacking in Israel to kill so many kids who have wronged no one, who knows no world, but are only coming into this world? Can we ask that question? And I think from that question, we will find an answer of how we move towards freeing the Palestinians. As we move along, Dr. Hossein Roy Warren, who is from the Palestine Defense Society in Iran, will be joining us to share his personalities. Please welcome him to the stage.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إخوتي أخواتي الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم.
Peace be upon you. When the coronavirus started spreading a few years back, we had to apply the social distancing rules and the needed health measures, and everyone felt that they are in a global crisis, and no one could ignore the unity of humanity during these times and the great threat to their life. Today we live in the same circumstance. However, this danger threatens the entire humanity. We live in a human crisis that its core principle is segregation and racism. They see people as human animals, like the defense minister had said, Israeli defense minister. One of their main principles is killing the Palestinians without any conditions. There is no way for any human being that is free to see this and keep quiet. This is ethnic cleansing and planned destruction. There are insane numbers. The numbers are very shocking. There's more than 15,000 martyrs, and 1,000, and almost half of the apartments and houses have been destroyed. There is a lot of hospitals, schools have been completely destroyed. In front of all these crimes, our humanity is in danger. We are in danger. If these crimes just go unpunished, the entire humanity is in danger. Everyone has to move. Everyone is responsible to fight this criminals. South Africa had an experience of fighting this apartheid regime with the immortal leader Nelson Mandela. Today, next to each and every free person in the world, we have to expose that racist way of thinking, the racist segregation, the danger of segregations in Israel. Peace be upon you.
A committee member of the Malaysian Parliamentary Caucus in Palestine, Ahmed Al-Tirmizi, will be joining us to share his personalities. Please welcome him on stage.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. بالروح بالدم نفديك يا أقصى. ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow advocates for justice, today our hearts are heavy as we extend condolences to those who have lost their life in the pursuit of justice, particularly the individuals associated with Palestine and the victim for Israel and cruel action. These brave souls have become martyrs during the frontline spirit that symbolizes the borders Muslim and non-Muslim community dedicated into principle of patient justice and fairness. Ladies and gentlemen, Mandela's life and struggle against apartheid underscore the importance of collective efforts in addressing system injustice. Embracing a comprehensive strategy that includes diplomatic engagement, impartial mediation, humanitarian aid, and peacekeeping force aligned with Mandela's vision for a world built a principle of fairness and equality. To navigate the crisis effective, a holistic strategy is imperative as follows. First, engage in ongoing negotiation with conflicting political parties, including all groups that are fighting in Gaza and West Bank, to establish a strong unified framework for coexistence. To mobilize the international community to demonstrate compassionate and harmonious humanitarian efforts in supporting Palestinians, particularly by steadfastly opposing Israel apartheid violence. Mandela, who himself endured the justice of apartheid in South Africa, understood the importance of global solidarity in addressing systemic oppression. Third, maintain continuous humanitarian aid efforts even during temporary ceasefire, focusing on crucial necessities such as food, clothes, medical supplies, shelter, clean water, and others. Fourth, initiative significant legal action on Israel through the International Criminal Court, ICC, the National Court of Justice, ICJ, and National Court in each country to ensure accountability and justice. By seeking justice through both international and national courts, the approach reflects Mandela's belief in the rule of the law and the importance of legal mechanisms to address human rights abuse. Fifth, sustain social media campaign, especially targeting the youngest generation, to assess the rightful return of Palestine to their homeland and the restoration of the confiscated lands by Israel. Sixth, form a sustainable coalition among nations worldwide to contribute to the reconstruction of Gaza, allocating billions of dollars to swiftly restore the region as a secure and content place for occupation, given that 65% of their homes and essential facilities have been destroyed. The last 7 advocate for the United Nations for Family designed and declared the Israeli force as an aggressive and invading force, making a critical movement in the international response to the crisis. In conclusion, let us unite in our commitment to justice, inspired by the legacy of Nelson Mandela, and work tirelessly to confront racism until the day Palestine achieves true liberation. Thank you very much, all the participants.
It is indeed a perfect time and a perfect place as we commemorate and remember our late President, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, in this 5th Global Conference or Convention, and we speak of Palestine, and I'm sure we speak of where his heart has always laid. As we do this, we think of him along the speeches. We think of him along the decisions that we are going to take. In that, wherever he is, his soul will rest peacefully, knowing that what he left to be done is going to be done, and done with integrity. And we remember that peace, justice, and reconciliation after peace will be done. Chief Mandela will be gracing us in closing this session and reminding us that his grandfather left him with a message. This is the time. Nkosi Velile. Please welcome him on stage.
Thank you, Program Director, comrades and friends. I have been requested to make closing remarks as we conclude this 5th Global Convention in solidarity with Palestine. Shukran. Turn it around. Very good. Yes. This is a comrade and brother of mine whom we jointly hold the ambassadorship of being honored to be the faces for the global campaign to return to Palestine. And therefore, it is welcoming to see him reminding me that this is a cause we chose to support and give all our efforts to in order to ensure that we realize a free Palestine in our lifetime. We are ambassadors that have come together from all walks of life in different parts of the world to ensure that we continue to mobilize support for the Palestinian people. Before I get into the closing declaration that we have been able to capture, allow me to say a few words in what President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela's legacy means to us as we've gathered here for the past 2 days. I want to take this opportunity as we close this session, having heard many voices of the international and local leaders and delegates of this 5th International Convention for Solidarity with Palestine, in honoring the memory of our global icon, His Excellency President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This convention notes that many acknowledgements of the revolutionary role he played as a humanitarian, standing his humanity as iconic symbol for all suffering peoples of the world. We are honored by all these wonderful acknowledgements, but what Mandela requires of us today, what Palestine requires of us today, is that we must all be Nelson Mandela wherever we are. That means that we must embrace the principles of what Madiba stood for and the causes that he championed. Today, we ask you to be the Mandela, the freedom fighter, be the Mandela, the human rights campaigner, and Mandela, the gatherer of many voices across the world, so that we can consolidate global support for the freedom of Palestine. Today, we want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, and all in the global anti-apartheid movement for Palestine, whether in Palestine or all over the world, to speak with one voice. The convention provides us a basis for which to build a global anti-apartheid movement for a free Palestine. Today, we join our voices in calling for the end of the Bantustan solution, euphemistically called the two-state solution, and establish a single democratic state. We call on the government of South Africa to revoke this position and to hear the voices of the people of Palestine. Today, we call on the ICC to pursue the arrest of Netanyahu, his cabinet of war criminals, and all those complicit in the genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity perpetrated against innocent civilians, children, women, and the elderly. Today, comrades and friends, we reiterate our commitment to the anti-colonial, anti-imperialism, and anti-occupation struggle. We here in South Africa defeated imperialism and its lackeys. We defeated the Portuguese, the Dutch, and British colonialists, and I can assure you we shall defeat America and the Western imperialism in Palestine. Comrades and friends, today we acknowledge the presence of all formations of the resistance in Palestine here at the convention, and we call on all of them to continue to work together and intensify the fight until we realize a free Palestine. We must work on all fronts, like here in South Africa during our armed struggle, as we were accompanied by the ongoing diplomatic efforts at all global, regional, and continental forums. We must continue to work for the freedom of prisoners. We must continue to work to isolate the Zionist entity by boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaign. And this is an important struggle to cut the lifeline of occupation. We must, comrades and friends, continue to organize Palestinians in exile. And finally, we must strengthen the international solidarity network, as we have done here in this convention. In the memory of our great revolutionary, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, we commit to work ceaselessly for the liberation of Gaza and all over occupied Palestine. As the Royal House of Mandela and as an ambassador of the global campaign to return to Palestine, we call on you to be the Mandela in building this global solidarity network. Comrades and friends, as I conclude and close with remarks, I want to say that to the Zionist apartheid state of Israel, if Biden is on your side, Nelson Mandela is on the side of the Palestinian resistance. I want to say today to the Zionist apartheid state of Israel, if the United States of America and the United Kingdom are on your side, South Africa, Africa, and the entire international solidarity movement is on the side of the Palestinians. Comrades and friends, we are people of peace, we are people of dialogue, and we enjoy sitting around the table and negotiating our differences. But allow me to send a message to the Zionist apartheid state of Israel. In the words of President Nelson Mandela, when he visited Palestine, he said that if your alternative is only violence, we will use violence. These words were not uttered just to gain traction, but it was uttered from understanding 350 years of colonialism coupled with 60 years of a brutal apartheid regime here in South Africa. We as South Africans know how it is to live under occupation. And wherever apartheid raises its ugly head, we will be there to talk and speak out loud against it. Thank you for having honored us by coming to our shores and coming to South Africa. We hope that the lessons and experiences that we shared have been valuable, and you have gained a lot to take back as we come to the closing of 2023 and will be fully energized to begin 2024. Allow me, therefore, to get on to our closing declaration for the 5th Global Convention of Solidarity with Palestine, entitled Nelson Mandela and Palestine, Confronting Racism Till Liberation. It reads as follows, comrades. On the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the launch of the global campaign of solidarity with the Palestinian people and the 10th anniversary of the passing on of the international freedom fighter, President Nelson Mandela, the global campaign to return to Palestine, GCRP, and the Royal House of Mandela have convened the 5th Global Convention of Solidarity with Palestine. The convention was held under the title Nelson Mandela and Palestine, Confronting Racism Till Liberation. Between the 3rd and the 5th of December 2023, held in the city of Johannesburg, South Africa. The convention met in the shadows of the barbaric war of extermination waged by the usurping Zionist entity on Gaza and all over occupied Palestine. we take a very clear stand in condemning the genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity perpetrated by the Zionist entity before and since the 7th of October 2023. In appreciation of the great symbolic status of the late President Nelson Mandela and his heroic efforts in the face of racial discrimination and human rights violation. And President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was a loyal supporter of the resistance of the Palestinian people whilst he was in incarceration and after his release. His voice remains the greatest moral force that can shape the future of Palestine from occupation to liberation. At the end of the conference, the participants in the 5th Global Convention of Solidarity with Palestine decided on the following. 1, the necessity of an immediate and unconditional cessation of the Nazi Zionist war of annihilation against the Palestinian people. This is the responsibility of the United States of America and the normalization and supporting countries of the usurping entity. 2, calling on activists and civil society organizations to denounce this war and impose its cessation through a joint plan and specific activities to demonstrate the highest level of global rejection and condemnation. 3, continue work to prosecute the Zionist entity and the countries supporting it for the brutal crimes committed against the Palestinian people, especially in the recent war on Gaza, whether in international or national courts. 4, launching practical activities to break and completely lift the and siege on Gaza, coordinating specific joint practical actions between civil organizations and activists around the world to achieve this. 5, developing coordinating mechanisms between civil society organizations internationally and developing a work program for solidarity activities and events throughout the year. 6, establishing a coordinating mechanism between activists and influencers on social media to enhance support for the Palestinian cause and expose the crimes of the Zionist entity. Resolution number 7, continuing on and strengthening mass movements in most countries of the world in support of the Palestinian people, condemning Zionist crimes and rejecting normalization. Resolution 7, saluting the Palestinian resistance, declaring absolute support for its great struggle until the liberation of all of Palestine from the river to the sea, and thanking all resistance movements for their effective support of the Palestinian resistance in confronting the Zionist aggression. Resolution 9, the participants in the convention stand in humility before tens of thousands of honorable martyrs, children, women, and men. They extend their highest greetings to the steadfast and resistant Palestinian people in all the occupied territories especially in the Gaza Strip. They express great appreciation for their struggle and great sacrifices, which confirm the inevitability of the end of the racist and illegitimate Zionist entity. Resolution 10, emphasizing the integration of the global struggle and linking the struggle of leader Nelson Mandela in the face of racial discrimination and the resistance of the Palestinian people against Zionism and colonialism. Resolution 11, thanks and appreciation to the family of President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, the global campaign for the return to Palestine, and the Royal House of Mandela for sponsoring this forum, and to the people and government of South Africa for their sincere and continuous position in support of the Palestinian people. Comrades and friends, these are the resolutions adopted in this convention on the 4th day of December 2023 at Cordoba, Johannesburg, in the Republic of South Africa. This was the duty and responsibility I was given, and allow me to say that these resolutions will be taken tomorrow in a national march to Pretoria, where we will be marching to the Union Building to present the resolution of this 5th Global Convention on the solidarity with Palestine, which will be handed over to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, and the government of South Africa. I therefore want to invite you all and all South Africans, CBOs and NGOs, all religious and faith-based organizations, unions, as well as worker formations, all political parties, to join hands with Palestinians from the diaspora who have come to our shores from 72 different countries. Let us be part of change, because change is within us. I thank you.
Thank you very much. It has been an honor for me to be allowed the space. Thank you, Sheikh. And thank all the organizers of the 5th Global Convention to allow me to be part of this memorable and huge convention, hoping that as we will be departing into our different homes, we will depart with a lot in mind and in heart, but mostly we take the souls of the Palestinians with us, we take the souls of the Gazans with us, and we remember them in our different homes. We never forget them, and we keep on praying, we keep on thinking of them, but we only not do that, but we take action to make sure that they also go back to their homes. As we will be living to our structures, built structures, warm homes, let us remember that they are going into different rubbles as we stand here. Let us remember them and never forget them, but let us work hard to make sure that what is happening in Palestine and Gaza ends. within a short space of time. It is within us. It is our responsibility, because we are humans, to make sure that it happens. Let it not happen to another nation. Let this be the last that we speak of apartheid. Let this be the last that we speak of genocide. Let this be the last that we speak of killing of people. Let this be the last that we see not the person next to us as a human being, but let us love one another, whether Palestinian, South African, Israeli, Greece, Turkish, whoever, but let us look at each other in the eye and see another human being. With that, I'm going to ask my colleague in pro-directing, Adib Yaserji, to come and say a word of thanks as we are about to depart.
الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات.
All praise to God. All thanks and gratitude were praising and for our Almighty Allah for His bounties that He grant upon us. Because of these faces that come from different world, so that we represent Al-Palestinian, even if it is Palestine who live in Palestine, or live in Palestine, or you live in another side. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for this. So this is my remarks to conclusion for this Jalsa. Tomorrow is a public movement and protestation in the East Church Street in Pretoria. It will be start from 9 o'clock a.m. With us is we will going to tell everyone who are the responsibility when the bus will be leaving for the global campaign to return to the Palestine. We express our thanks to the family of the family, those who have contributed to the successful of this conferences. I express my gratitude for the wife of Nelson Mandela, Ada. I thank also Mrs. Shakira. She's general director of the Qurtuba, that hosts these conferences. As a society, Friend Society of the Palestine here in South Africa, local societies for those who are society and the media of the South Africa, Hilal, thanks. I will thank all of them, my brothers, sisters, and especially Sister Dudu. She is the resistance for the loveliness of the Palestinian and the Palestinian people. This is the last to close this one. We talk about so many issues for the influencers for the influencer who discuss about their opinion. We thank you. We have with us here today is our ambassador to return to Palestine. He read for us some of the music for Palestine. لأن الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم say, it's not among us the one who read the Quran with tajweed, but we say also, it's not among us the one who not read music with Palestine. Now it is time for singing for Palestine. Music. All speakers, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you for this great effort that you put. Like our colleagues, they talk about all this. Al-Qudus. This is the song.
بالاخر هيدي للثوريه، العمل للاطفال.
بتخبر للأجيال عن علم بيرمي صواريخ وحضارة بتقتل الأطفال. بكرة محكمة التاريخ شو بتخبر للأجيال عن علم بيرمي صواريخ وحضارة بتقتل الأطفال. يا طفل اللي ما بيعرف يرجع صرخ خلق الحق بيسمع تلك شمس الماضي بترجع طال الليل العربي طال. يا طفل اللي ما بيعرف يرجع صرخ خلق الحق بيسمع تلك شمس الماضي بترجع طال الليل العربي طال. طال الليل العربي طال. زمن الحقد والعدم. يا طفل اللي ما بيعرف يرجع صرخ بلكي الحق بيسمع، بلكي شمس الماضي بترجع، طال الليل العربي طال. صرخ بلكي الحق بيسمع، بلكي شمس الماضي طال العربي طال الليل العربي طال. بين النار وبين النار، يا غافي وجروحك أكبر من حمل كتافك الصغار. عرفنا من جرحك يا صغير شو خافوا منك الكبار. صرخ بلكي الحق بيسمع، بلكي شمس الماضي بترجع، طال الليل العربي طال. صرخ بلكي الحق بيسمع، بلكي شمس الماضي بترجع، طال الليل العربي طال الليل العربي طال. يا قدس جايين، انت قبلتنا الاولى. اسلام مسيحيين قلناها وبدنا نقولها، اسم الشعب المنحنى منقولها انت وانا. القدس رح تبقى لنا غصبا عن الصهيوني ان شاء الله. اسم الشعب المنحنى منقولة انت وانا. اسم الشعب المنحنى فلسطينية منقولة انت وانا. القدس رح تبقى لنا، القدس رح تبقى لنا. وبصوتك بدنا نقولها، يا ميضة وشموع بدنا الشهادة نقولها. يا مهد يسوع وبصوتك بدنا نقولها، يا ايامي ضو شموع بدنا الشهادة نقولها. اسم الشعب المنحنى منقولها انت وانا، باسم الشعب المنحنى منقولها انت وانا. القدس رح تبقى لنا، القدس رح تبقى لنا.
باسمك يا فلسطين أقصانا عم بينادي، جايك نصر الهادي. باسم الشعب المنحنى منقولها انت وانا، باسم الشعب المنحنى منقولها انت وانا. القدس رح تبقى لنا.
ان شاء الله بتضلوا بخير يا رب، والله يعطيكم الف عافيه. النشيد اللي بيكرهه الصهيوني ونحن بنحبه كتير. لازم تعرف يا محتل نحن مين وانت مين، نحن هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوين. هم هم هلا هي 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 هلا هي هلا هلا هي لازم تعرف يا محتل نحن مين وانت مين، نحن هيهات من الذل للذل عناوين. ولازم تعرف يا محتل نحن مين وانت مين، نحن هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوين. نحن لما جنوبي نادي لو متنا عالشاق شهادي، نحن لما غزت بلادي لو متنا عالشاق شهادي. مثل الشجر بأرض بلادي، أرض بلادي منموت ونحن واقفين. لازم تعرف يا محتل انت مين، نحن هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوين. هم هي 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 لازم تعرف انه الارض اللي انت عليها بطول وعرض صارت كل دروبها نار، تحبل كره تخلف بغض. لازم تعرف انه الارض اللي انت عليها بطول وعرض صارت كل دروبها نار، تحبل كره تخلف بغض. منقاوم للنهاية وللحق منرفع رايين. ولا تفكر انت الجاي، لا تفكر انت الجاي، نحن لا عندك جايين. ولازم تعرف يا محتل انت مين، نحن هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوين.
نسافر اليهود انه شعب غزة شعب جبار ما بيحبش.
نعم
شعب غزة شعب جبار بيحبش المال.
ونعم الشعب.
تعالوا على غزة شوفوا بعينيكم، احنا بنخافش من شيء.
لازم تعرف بجنوبي ضيعت انا المنكوبي، صارت يدين الاطفال سيوف بوجهك مسحوبي. بضيعت انا المنكوبي سيوف بوجهك مسحوبة تغير لون الدم وصار لونه أبيض نور ونار كينور درب الأحرار درب الأحرار على الحرية متفقين ولازم تعرف يا محتل نحنا مين وانت مين نحنا هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوين هم هلا هي هم هلا هلا هي اخر مقطع لازم تعرف جاي نهار بدنا نحرر موطننا ونحن نبقى اهل الدار وانت ترحل من عنا مشينا وفينا عزم كبير فلسطين لو مهما يصير رح نقطف زرع التحرير ونرجع بكرة منتصرين ولازم تعرف يا محتل نحنا مين وانت مين نحنا هيهات من الذل وانت للذل عناوي منموت ونحنا واقفين. شكرا شكرا للجميع يعطيكم الف عافيه جميعا.
شكرا لكم. شكرا لفلسطين التي تجمعنا. شكرا لغزة التي ترفعنا. شكرا لشهدائها لأمهاتها لأطفالها لإعلامييها لأطبائها لمسعفيها لكل العاملين فيها. شكرا لهم لأنهم رغم الآلام ورغم الدموع ورغم الموت الذي يحيط بهم يزرعون فينا حب الحياة، يزرعون فينا الفرح، يزرعون في هذه الأرض الأمل والسعادة. أيتها الأخوات، أيها الإخوة، لو سمحتم جميعا سنتجه إلى خارج هذه القاعة من أجل التقاط صور جماعية من بعد إذنكم، فتفضلوا مشكورين. جزاكم الله خيرا، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
with